Here's the thing. I wish the developers of Cara the best, but I do not think that Cara will kill Instagram, and I do not think that Cara will turn out to be the best app for artists. And frankly, I think a lot of artists are using social media wrong and have been for a long time and don't understand how to leverage the opportunities that the internet gives you. And in this video, I want to talk about that, and I also want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Take what I'm about to say with an open mind. I really do want to see artists succeed, and I say this from a place of love, right? I'm not a shill for Instagram. I don't like the platform. I don't use the platform. I'm not actually very active on Instagram. I am as a consumer, but I'm not as a content creator. I don't post my art on Instagram. I'm not very active, and it's not a part of like my business marketing strategy. And I especially don't like this recent shift that all of Silicon Valley is making into generative AI. But I think that we as a community need to face some facts. So there have been a number of apps that have tried to steal Instagram's market share over the past couple of years. You've got Vero, Artful, Be Real, Dispo, Lemonade, not counting Cara. Cara is the latest one. If you also include like the Twitter killing apps in this list, then you've got Threads, which is Meta-owned, Blue Sky, Mastodon, Clubhouse, Hive Social, a million other ones. The thing that all of these apps have in common is that they get their 15 seconds of fame only when some, controversial news breaks. When one of these platforms like Instagram or Twitter makes a choice that we don't like. Like when we find out, for example, that Instagram wants to use all of our posts to train its AI models and that we can't opt out of this. I think that all of this is morally reprehensible. I am unequivocally against this. I think this is really bad. But a part of why I think this is so bad is that I don't think that it's actually a practical possibility for many artists to quit Instagram, at least right now, and not without a lot of prep. I think quitting Instagram is, if it is a big part of your marketing strategy, if it's a thing that you've been doing for a long time and you're getting sales on, I think leaving it takes a lot of effort to rebuild that following and that customer base elsewhere. Because people are running businesses on Instagram, right? They're paying bills. It is a livelihood for them, and these changes are constantly putting that in danger, and that's an incredibly valid thing to be nervous about. But despite all of our community's criticisms, I do think, unfortunately, it remains one of the best platforms to grow a business on. It sucks to say, but that's just true. And I am conflicted about this because, I think that if you want to grow an art business, you should probably be on Instagram or YouTube or Twitter or, one of the big three, basically. But I really dislike this gradual narrowing of the internet. I think this is really bad. Only a couple of companies now control basically all of the exposure that you can get online. Having an email list is good. Having your own website is good. But as search engines use AI more, individual websites gain less traction. The internet becomes increasingly small and narrow and on just a couple of websites. And I think this dynamic is really dangerous because it means that you as a business owner, me as a business owner, are increasingly reliant on the whims of these billion-dollar corporations. I think this is really risky, but the fact remains, right? It just is where the people are. And if you want to sell stuff, you have to be where the people are. I think a part of why I am so skeptical of these new apps that try and kill Instagram is their user base, right? You don't just post stuff on Instagram because you want to gain a community of like-minded artists. Maybe sometimes, right? Maybe sometimes that's totally valid if you do. If you're just a hobbyist and you just want to, share your stuff with other creatives, that's totally valid. But a lot of artists post on Instagram because they want to gain a following to launch their shop, right? Or sell prints and sell their graphic novel or their webcomic. They want to monetize somehow. They want to make money. They want to turn their passion into a career. And that is extremely valid, right? That is what I do. That is what I teach people how to do on this channel and all of the things I do on the internet. That is so valid. to want to do that. But if that is your goal, if you want an audience of collectors, of consumers, of people that want to take out their wallet and pay you money for the stuff that you make, you can't just have an audience of artists. And it's not that creatives don't support each other, right? We do, but there are so few of us in comparison to how many people there are in the world that are not creatives, that are not artists. Your target audience might not be your fellow art community, and that would be extremely okay, and actually probably better for you in the long run. If you really wanted to focus on selling your work, like prints and merch and, originals and stuff like that, you can't rely on having an audience of just your fellow creatives. That's not going to work. You have to reach out to the average consumer. You have to try and find your ideal target customer. And the average consumer is likely not using apps like Cara or Vero or Artful or Lemonade or the other weird new ones. They're going to be on the big apps, right? They're going to be scrolling on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter because that's what they know. It's what's easy for them. They are not in our niche internet sub community where we have all of this drama all the time about Instagram and their choices. They don't care about that stuff probably. Or if they do, they don't care enough to go somewhere else. The thing that makes apps like Facebook and Instagram so valuable for artists and advertisers, let's be honest, is their incredibly wide, enormously large, and diverse user base. And replicating this elsewhere online is really hard, right? Where else do you have billions of daily users? You know what I mean? It's just, that's a tall order to ask. That reach is very difficult to find elsewhere. But you can survive as a business owner without Instagram. It is possible. You can sell your art without using that platform. But it does require a much more deliberate strategy. So let's talk about that. Okay, so here is how you run your art business without Instagram. First things first, you need to do the work. This is not going to be easy. You need to do the work. Also, what I'm about to say might help you quit Instagram. Or you might realize that you've been using Instagram all wrong this whole time. And you don't actually want to quit. You want to change your strategy or whatever. I don't care. You can leave Instagram. You can stay. That doesn't matter to me. I just want you to make the choice that is best for you, whatever that choice is. Okay? I want you to have the information that you need to make that choice. And then I want you to do whatever you want. I don't care. I have no skin in this game, okay? I want to see you succeed. I'm rooting for you. But if you're going to do this, you need to know who your target audience is. Knowing your target audience, like I said before, right? This is the foundation of your business. This underpins literally everything. You can't do anything else that we're going to talk about with success and intention if you don't understand who you are trying to sell to, right? Knowing your target audience, it feeds into everything, right? It feeds into what platform you're on, be that Instagram or somewhere else. It feeds into the kind of content that you make, how you talk about your work, how you price it, the products that you offer. It feeds into everything. It is so important. It's so important. If you are trying to sell your work, you probably don't want to use hashtags like hashtag illustration or hashtag gouache because the average consumer doesn't know what that is. They have no idea what gouache is. They don't know. They don't care. They are focused on the subject matter or the end purpose of their work or like the broad aesthetic, right? So let me give you an example. Let's say that I do portrait paintings and I love fantasy art. I want to mix the two together. I love creating original characters where I am like doing cool, fun oil paintings of elves or tieflings or whatever. And let's say that I wanted to start commissions. I was interested in doing original character stuff, but I'm realizing maybe that's not working for me. Maybe I want to do commissions. So if I was that person, I would be focused on getting into the LARP, cosplay, and D&D communities because those people are interested in fantasy topics and have their own characters that they're passionate about, or they want to be reimagined as a tiefling or an elf or whoever, and they have the disposable income to be able to pay for that, because D&D and cosplaying and LARP, those are pretty expensive hobbies, or at least they can be. There is like the potential for them to be expensive, which is what matters. And that is where I would be. I would be trying to get into Discord servers and Facebook groups and like subreddits and stuff like that. I would be trying to make those people in that niche internet community aware of my existence and the products that I offer. I wouldn't be using hashtags on Instagram like hashtag oil painting or hashtag fantasy. Those are too broad. Those are also just not going to attract the specific person that I want to talk to. That's all. If I was doing stuff like landscape paintings, like I do now, right? A big goal that I have for myself in the future is to get my work into gift shops, maybe galleries, in communities that have like the subject matter that I cover in my work. So mountain towns, right? Coastal towns, stuff like that, right? You want to be where the people are that have your interests. Maybe this looks like I partner with like hiking and outdoor brands in the future and try to have my art on their products. Maybe it looks like I do art licensing for those kind of brands. Maybe I do like customization of various hiking equipment things, or maybe I find like outdoorsy groups on Facebook or subreddit or Discord or even Instagram, wherever. You have to be where those people are, and that's how you sell your stuff. This is the kind of mental shift that you have to do regardless of the platform that you end up going with. This is what I'm talking about when I say that I think artists are just using social media incorrectly on average. Like, we as a community do not understand how to market ourselves and how to appeal to our desired customer base, right? We are so caught up in consuming art content that it's all that we know how to do, and it's all that we can like look to as an example. But I think if I was really smart and I was really scrappy and I really wanted to sell my art on Instagram or wherever, I would be trying to figure out my desired customer, who I was trying to sell to, and make content that fits that person, that finds them where they're at. I would be trying to figure out where they are on the internet and how I can reach them. That's why I think that Cara isn't going to be the best app for artists, because we need to have more than just artists use it for it to be a viable sales platform essentially for us. And if Cara only wants to be the next art station or the next deviant art, that's fine. That is a totally valid niche to fill. But when we're talking about leaving Instagram for Cara, I think it's not going to be the thing that everyone thinks it is. I think the grass is only somewhat greener on the other side, and I think that you need to be very deliberate about where you spend your time and your energy. If you want to run a business without focusing on Instagram, you just have to have some kind of coherent marketing plan for your work. That could look like Instagram, right? It could. It could look like TikTok. It could look like LinkedIn. It could look like Facebook groups or whatever. It could be galleries or art fairs or anime conventions or gift shops or art licensing or anything. It could look like anything. There are so many ways to make this work. But you can't keep posting on Instagram and using the same hashtags, like hashtag gouache, hashtag illustration, and even like niche ones that are just focused on the art community and not trying to connect with your ideal customer, not trying to connect to your target audience, and not knowing who that person is. You're wasting your time by not knowing who you're trying to sell to. It is so much of a missed opportunity. It grinds my gears. It grinds my gears. Anyway, I'm going to be hosting this workshop that will hopefully teach people how to find their target audience online and how to create some kind of business plan for their creative endeavors. If that sounds like a thing that you would get value out of, you should sign up to my email list. Straight up. My email list is going to have information about this when the time comes. I'm still working on like the nitty-gritty parts of the event and all that jazz, and there will be like a bigger announcement soon. But if that sounds like a thing that you are interested in, sign up for that. And Yeah, before we end this video, I do want to thank the sponsor of this video, which is Squarespace. I know what you're thinking, you've heard a million of these ad reads before, but Squarespace has genuinely been an amazing partner in helping me sell my art and monetize online. Squarespace is one of the absolute best website builders on the internet, but they're also so much more than that. I have been running my online store on Squarespace for ages now. You can also write a blog, have a portfolio, or even run an online course with their new course features. A few weeks ago, I wanted to start offering paid mentorship and coaching, which is by far my most requested product or service. Using Squarespace, I was able to really quickly create a sales page, display testimonials, and even send an email announcement all within Squarespace. Their fluid design engine makes designing websites an absolute breeze, and their intuitive drag and drop features and color palette ability just makes my website look so good and so cohesive, and most importantly, so easy to update. If you want a website that will grow with your business and help you make more money, I think it's worth giving Squarespace a try. You can go to squarespace.com/Kelsey Rodriguez or use Kelsey Rodriguez at checkout to get 10% off your first order of a website or domain.